Picture this. Imagine falling in love and keeping yourself for marriage, saving every piece of intimacy for the one person your heart knows is yours. You wait patiently, dreaming of the day you will finally consummate that sacred bond with the love of your life. But instead of waking beside the one you adore, you open your eyes and find someone else there. Not by choice, not by temptation, but by a deception so deep it changes everything. It sounds unbelievable, almost too dramatic for reality. Yet this was the true and painful experience of Jacob, the grandson of Abraham and son of Isaac. A man God had chosen to carry a divine promise long before he understood the weight of it. Before his love story with Rachel began, Jacob was running for his life. Not from enemies on the outside, but from his own brother, Esau. This was no simple family argument. Jacob had deceived their elderly father, disguising himself as Esau to take the blessing meant for the firstborn. Jacob wanted the inheritance, the authority, the destiny. He got it, but the cost was steep. When Esau realized what had happened, anger consumed him, and he intended to kill Jacob. Rebekah, Jacob's mother, intervened with urgency and told him to flee to her brother Laban in a distant land. So Jacob ran to his uncle's home, carrying not only fear, but a heavy guilt of the blessing he had stolen from his brother Esau. Jacob left home with no idea of what awaited him on the other side of the wilderness. When Jacob arrived in Laban's land, he saw Rachel, whom the scripture describes as having a beauty that radiated charm. Rachel stood by the well tending her father's sheep, and something in her captured Jacob instantly. In that moment, the fear and shame he carried melted away. It was not just Rachel's beauty that touched Jacob, but her presence, her spirit. Jacob felt she was the one. Rachel was the woman he wanted to build a family with, the woman he was willing to start over for. But though Jacob wanted to marry her, he had nothing to offer. No wealth, no gifts, no dowry. So when Jacob asked his uncle Laban for Rachel's hand in marriage, Laban named a price that would grind down any ordinary man: 7 years of labor. 7 years of sweat and toil for a woman. Yet Jacob's love ran so deep that he agreed to this condition. He worked from sunrise to sunset, season after season, motivated by the hope of holding Rachel as his wife one day. After 7 long years, the wedding day finally arrived. A veiled bride was brought to Jacob under the cover of night. Jacob was overjoyed as he took his veiled bride into the tent, certain he was finally with Rachel, the woman he had labored for. But everything that night was set up by Laban. Laban could not bear the idea of Rachel, his younger daughter, being married before Leah, his eldest daughter. So he crafted a plan woven with deception. He gave Jacob a veiled Leah instead, and Jacob didn't notice this since it happened in the dark. Leah entered Jacob's tent wrapped in secrecy and silence, playing the role of her younger sister as commanded by his father. When morning light broke through and Jacob opened his eyes, the truth hit him like a blow. It was Leah, not Rachel, not the face he had dreamed of for 7 years, not the woman he had worked himself to the bone for. The shock and fury that ripped through Jacob were indescribable. He stormed to Laban demanding answers, but Laban coolly replied that their custom required the older daughter to be married first. Then came the twist. Laban offered Rachel again, but on one condition. Jacob would have to work another 7 years. Shockingly, Jacob agreed because his heart still yearned for Rachel. Jacob eventually married Rachel after 14 years of labor. In the end, we get to see that before Jacob could rise into his divine calling, he had to be humbled, shaped, and refined. The deceiver had to taste deception. God used love, betrayal, disappointment, and unexpected turns to mold Jacob for destiny. And this is the lesson for us as Christians. Sometimes we work for a Rachel and wake up with a Leah. Sometimes life gives us what we never asked for. Sometimes the path we imagined is not the path God uses. But nothing in Jacob's story was wasted. God was in the pain, God was in the betrayal, God was in the unexpected. God worked through it all to build something eternal. So if your own life right now looks like it's full of disappointments and detours, remember Jacob. Remember that God can use the broken pieces you would never choose to create the story you were always meant to live. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Be blessed.